over control says nothing's going to happen unless I am the one that goes there and takes care of that and does this action and does this. And you can't.
Yeah.
Right?
And
So it's
would you say that's like a helicopter parent?
yeah, yes. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking of it. Yes.
Which I don't like that scenario they're saying, but that's what I would like, a helicopter parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's like always there, always there. Actually, I have a graphic in my mind of like the kid can't run from one end of the room to the other because the parents gotta go, oh my God, they might fall over.
But that's so true.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's actually right there. So here's tip number 1.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, dear Deb.
Welcome.
Welcome, dear listeners. Here we are with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset podcast conversations. This one's a good one. I'm looking forward to this conversation today. Today we're going to be talking about when to release over control. Oh dear, that one can bring a few challenges up, I'm thinking. But
The
before we
title on its own brings that,
it goes,
wind your
oops.
eyes. Uh-oh. Do I have
What
to? Do
what
I
does
have
that
to?
mean? What does that mean?
It's a goodie. Okay, I'll let you carry on.
Before we get into riffing on these ideas and sharing tips about releasing over control, we like to do our PEMS check-in. And this is, I talk about this as the 4 pillars of you: your physical well-being, your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, and your spiritual well-being. And I like to think of those 4 pillars as the legs to a table. Now, we would like to all think that we have a level table. So it means that you need to be looking after yourself on all 4 to equal measure, to whatever that means to you. So what we do is we check in with ourselves and we give ourselves a number from 0 to 10. 0 is Zen, feeling
Oh,
feeling completely level table.
take me there.
And of course, 10 is discombobulated tables, like tipped over, hanging up against a wall or something. And is feeling crazy making, stuck, not sure what to do, or actually feeling like I have to be in control of everything. That's going to put you up near a 10 as well. So the truth is we move up and down that scale all the time. This is just a very quick check-in, and it's just about being kind to yourself, being kind to yourself and giving yourself a little check-in, you to you. So what we're going to do, we're all going to give ourselves a number now. And then listeners, we encourage you to just have a wee check-in with yourself at the halfway point, and then we'll all check in at the end. So all that being said, dear Deb, where are you? What's
3.
you? 3. Okay. And I'm a 2, actually. So there we have it.
That's probably our biggest we've been for a long time.
Yes.
Probably
Yes.
both of us at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. It
Well, we'll see.
is what it is.
We'll see if our podcast works today then, shall we?
Yes, let's do that, shall we? Because,
Take
dear
a
listeners, we just make a wee note of what your number was. And of course, our intent together with these conversations is always to meet you wherever you are, whatever number and whatever discombobulation you may have going on in your world. Our intent with the ideas and tips that we share is to lovingly, kindly, gently ease you towards that zero, if not actually take you to the zero. So let's get into this. When to release over control. How would you define over control, Deb? What does that mean to you?
I've never been in never.
Oh, how to
Never.
release that then?
Not me. It's not me at all. How would I explain over control?
Yeah.
I know the feeling in my body,
Mhm.
and it's when you're in a 10 and you feel like you're going, the 10 being the PEMS, and you feel
Yes.
like you can't hold on.
Yeah.
There's nothing to hold on to, or there's nothing to grip and feel like, is this ever going to end? And your mind just keeps running. Is this going to stop? Can I hold on to something? Can I ground it? Like it's the hamster wheel gone fast.
Yes.
And it's out of control. When I say that, I just think there's nothing to hold on to grip yourself and just go, oh, like the tips we're going to give you are going to be simple, but they may not work for you today. They may work for you next time. So when you're in that state, I think you just try as many different things as you can until, oh, this is working. And then the next day it might be something different. Would that be, what about you? How would you explain it?
So to me, over control is thinking, and I like what you said. It's like you can't hold on anymore. But to me, over control is thinking like you have to do.
I forgot about the over
everything.
part.
Yeah.
The
Over
part.
control means like it, and it can actually feel like immobilization, right? Because what I mean by that is over control says nothing's going to happen unless I am the one that goes there and takes care of that and does this action and does this, and you can't.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so
would you say that's like a helicopter parent?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking of it. Yes.
Which I don't like that scenario. They're saying, but that's what I would like, a helicopter parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's like always there, always there. Actually, I have a graphic in my mind of like the kid can't run from one end of the room to the other because the parent's gonna go, oh my God, they might fall over.
But that's so true.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's actually right there. So here's tip number 1.
Okay, yeah.
is when to release over control is when you have realized that your nervous system is like off the charts tense, that you're in a state of hypervigilance, that your posture is off, maybe your shoulders are slouched in, and you're shallow breathing. That's all signs and signals to say, hey honey, time to let go a wee bit, time to lighten up, time to come into take a deep breath. Right?
Yeah, and I think, you said the signs are there. I think that's actually a whole tip on its own, of being the signs being there. But I've just found another way of explaining this is red flags and pink flags.
Okay.
So you see pink flags and you ignore them. Like, oh, okay, yep, okay, that's all right. I can let that go. I can do that. And it's only when it hits that red flag that you go from.
Yeah.
And red flags mean you take action. You don't often take action on little pink flags. Like when I'm talking about action, I'm talking about serious action. Like, that's it. I'm done in the relationship. I'm done with this. That's your red flag. But you've had little signs. You're like, okay, we'll work through this. We'll go into our heart. We'll connect. If we were talking about relationships and there's stuff going on, and we'll heal this level of us, and then we carry on, and then something happens again. We do another beautiful pink flag comes in, and we're like, okay, let's work on this. And you can work on the same thing, the same issue over and over again with different things. But sometimes you got to have the red flag that makes you go, you know what? I'm done.
I'm done with this. Yeah.
I'm done. And you said about the nervous system, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't do the red flag anymore. And the pink flag isn't something I'm ready to invest in. I'm done. I'm done. Does that help as well?
It does. I like the pink flag, red flag kind of thing because, you know, I had a conversation recently with somebody who has just come through a really big challenge health-wise. And it felt like this health challenge came up out of nowhere. Like it was just suddenly, oh my God, from you know, everything was fine. So pink flags, right? Maybe even green flags, it was fine.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it was like really terrible, terrible. This person even had to go to hospital because it was really, really serious. But in our conversation, he was telling me, really, it didn't come out of nowhere. It didn't just suddenly escalate. It was an accumulation of all these little tap, 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 little pink flag. And I think the propensity for us, for a lot of us, me included, pink flag, it's not that big a deal. Oh, I can cope with that. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. But then, of course, you get an accumulation of them, and it's because you are saying, oh, I have to stay in control. I have to keep doing this. I have to keep, and you're ignoring the signs.
So open your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But open your eyes, but open your heart.
Yes.
You know, and I think, you know, when I think about that, open your eyes, open your heart, they're there when you're ready to see it. You know, and I think that's the thing is at the end, when you're in the red flag, you're like, oh, I didn't see anything. And then you're like, hang on, I saw that and I saw that.
Yeah.
And what do they say? I don't know. One of the scenarios, my mind went blank, but it's when you see it, acknowledge it. So it's actually, I can see it and I can acknowledge it, because then you're honoring whatever this is. And then you're deciding if you'd like to look at it or not, or heal from it, or whatever you want to label it, look at it or not, but actually just go, okay, I can see that. I'm not saying find an issue and spend 10 days working on it emotionally into your body. Like, I don't believe you have to spend all that time on something. When I say 10 hours, 10 minutes, 10 days, whatever, like, I don't think you have to sit and go, why me, and go into that cluster head banging stuff. It's actually, I can see this. I can acknowledge it. Do I want to deal with it? Yeah, okay, I do. Or am I going to put it under the rug? It's only when the red flags come up that you go, actually, I saw them. I saw them.
Yeah.
So they're not, those little pink flags are not actually little. They're alerting you to the awakeness. They're awakening you to the bigger, what's going to happen.
Yeah. Do you know the other piece that I'm thinking of in this is that the difference between being and doing. I've been saying this so many times of late, that there is this propensity of doing and doing and doing and hustling and pushing forward, and no, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I can, you know, put off my self-care. I can put up with this headache or this tension in my body, and because I have to get these things done, and I have to get this project finished, and I have to
it's like that, isn't it?
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that where is your balance? And this is such an important piece, is to understand yourself. You know, how many hours of sleep do you need in order to be operating optimally? And how,
if only she knew how much I had earlier this week. Yeah. Shh.
We won't do that. But you see what I mean? It's like, this is something that's so important, not to ever assess yourself based on what somebody else needs. Right?
Well, this is your PEMS again, isn't it?
It is.
This is your PEMS, and you just sit and go, okay, well, no wonder I'm cranky today, because I'm at an 8. Or no wonder this is not challenging me, because I'm having such a beautiful experience. I'm at a 1.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that you know, it is your PEMS. Check in with your PEMS. Not that you're going to use it as an excuse, but it's your PEMS to go, oh, okay. And it's an excuse is not acknowledging. Acknowledging is not an excuse. Acknowledging is just, I can see that. Thank you. PEMS is great, and then it goes to trust, and that's a whole new point. But your PEMS is is a very quick assessment tool that we did at the start, and it's very quick to get you grounded to go, well, no wonder I'm feeling like this, or no wonder I'm out of control, or no wonder I'm trying to control things. No wonder that's it. Your PEMS is a golden tool.
It is a golden tool, but you know, when I say know yourself, know thyself kind of thing, I'm going a little bit deeper than that, because with the work that I do with clients, I help people know themselves through the lenses of the tarot, through numerology, through human design, and gene keys and things of that nature, simply because that actually helps inform you as to how do you communicate? How do you best operate in groups of people? How do you best create? And it's those pieces of awareness that is so, so important to allow yourself to realize, like, here's an example. Each one of us, and I'm talking through the lens of human design, we each have our own preferred way of making decisions. Now, one of them is emotions. So there's a whole big, this is a big topic, but if you are wired to use your emotions to make a decision, then it means you cannot make a decision in the present moment. It means that you've got to ride the wave of all the emotions, and then you'll get it. So for if you are wired that way, you know, taking a wee walk before making a decision, or sleeping on something before making a decision, is very, very helpful. And there's nothing wrong with you. Whereas other people, myself included, actually, I'm splenic authority, which means I do make my decisions right here, right now. In fact, I can totally freak some people out, because I often do not know what I'm going to do this time next week, because I know I have to be there in order to say, oh, here it is. This is the decision. Now, that's a really Coles Notes version to help you see how to release over control. Means you have to know, how are you best wired and best equipped to show up in this world, to share your gifts and your talents. And does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm just relying in my mind, my mind's racing, thinking of my life. That tip wasn't for anyone else, it was purely for me.
just for Deb. Just for Deb.
Yeah. I think, you know, when you're talking about that, the thing that flowed from that was honor others for them.
Yeah.
And when I say that, well, that's actually the tip. That's it. Honor others for them.
Yeah.
That's the tip on it.
It is totally on its own. So it's like, not to come at it with an agenda of, because you're wired this way, or because you operate this way. That nobody else is.
No,
and let them be them.
Yeah, yeah.
But so we'll keep that as a tip, but I want to bring trust back in here, because trust does need to be a tip all of itself, because and actually this should have been tip number 1, really.
These are in no particular order. Did we say grab your note-taking device, Pete?
Oh, we didn't, did we? I don't know.
You better get that. Deb was over controlling. Did we say that?
No. There we are. But see,
grab it.
the propensity to feel like you have to be in control of everything and everyone around you says you don't trust. So when to release over control is when you realize that, oh, and actually, you know, I just heard this saying, and some of our listeners may resonate with this. I could hear my dad's voice in my head saying, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself.
Well, that's so old school too, but that's literally drummed into me too.
Right. Yeah,
that's whereas I think younger generation, I'm just going to be cheeky, they're just like, just delegate it. Just delegate it. No, it's not.
Because they can just trust. I trust it. I trust it. Yeah. So dad's wisdom.
Yeah, dad's wisdom. But trust is a large factor, because we all have past stories that we attach onto.
Yeah.
Oh, this person, I'm not going to believe this, you know, they're not going to do this because they've done this before. I've heard stories about them doing it before, or I've always been burnt, you know, investing in a coach. I've always been burnt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I can't do this. Last time I took my children to so-and-so's house, they did this, and now I can't forgive them. And, you know, there's a
Right.
whole, and they're just heavy stories
Mm-hmm.
that immobilize us.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that trust is incredibly important. And trust is hand on heart, breathe, trust. It doesn't have to be a big process that can be overwhelming in your head. Just trust.
Absolutely. 100%.
And Moira's got a great exercise called letting go, the letting go process.
Yeah.
Connect with Moira about that, because that entangles into trust.
100%. Absolutely. And because it actually allows you start to open up to surrender to the amazingly powerful flow that is your life.
Yeah.
But it's like when we're in over control and I'm clenching my fist together here, it's like you're cinching the hose. We want to let it go and let the water flowing through. But you know what you were the pieces that you were talking about there a moment ago, Deb, about releasing past stories. It made me think of the 4 agreements.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
because past stories,
guys.
exactly. Past stories can be assumptions. I heard, and some of the examples you just gave were assumptions. It's like, oh, this is the last time that I took my kids over here, this is how it went. So it's going to happen that way again. Well, that's an assumption because you don't actually know that.
I think when I think about those stories, I think my mum used to say to me, don't run across the road, you'll get hit by a truck. And I remember that so clearly, and I was like, oh gosh. And I remember even our street that we lived in, there was barely a car that went down. I couldn't even imagine being hit by a truck from there, because there was probably
trucks don't come down here.
Yeah, trucks don't come down. But I remember mum saying, don't run across the road, you'll get hit by a truck. And I was like, and I remember that thinking, all roads you're going to get hit by a truck. But in our particular road, which was a street that we lived in, there was no trucks. There was barely cars on that road. But I you know, these stories are things that I've taken when I was 5, 6, 7, and I've held on to that all that time. You know, and I hear people go, don't run across the road, and I giggle, because you'll get hit by a truck. You know, this is complete strangers. Don't run across the road. And I think, because you'll get hit by a truck. You know, it's just literally the sentence that's ingrained in me. I know realistically that's not true.
Right. It's
not every time you're going to run across the road, you're going to get that. And if that's happened to you, then thank you for being one of a kind. If I can say it like that. Thanks for being that person who knows the story's true. But that's how our sayings to other people, not that you want to watch what you say and choose, you want to be authentic, but I guess watch what you say to other people, because it's easy to attach assumption, bloomin' heck.
Assumption. Yeah, we don't want to do that. But you see, this is the other thing that I was thinking of too with this releasing over control is I had this little picture came in my mind of the law of attraction. People talk about the law of attraction and manifestations and doing their vision boards and getting really, really down into the nitty-gritty of all of the different components of what it is they're looking to manifest. Well, maybe you can release over control in there too. Because the universe hears you. When you say, wouldn't it be nice if I had this? That's actually all you have to do. The universe is listening always. And so then you can get busy on feeling good. And the universe will take care of the details so you can keep feeling good.
And that sits in that trust again.
Yeah, it does.
Interesting, because I wrote down, what's your intention?
Yeah.
Get clear and be specific on what which just exactly flows with what Moira just said. You know, if you want to manifest, you've got to get clear on it. If you would like something to happen, you've got to get clear and be specific on what you're looking for. So if this over control is, you know, immobilizing you, what's your outcome you're looking for? And not only what is the outcome you're looking for by getting clear and specific, is it realistic? because if you think they're going to pay me this, they're going to do this, this is what it is, if I let this control go, you've got to be realistic on what you're looking for. Realistic to universal laws, realistic to, like, don't go, I'm going to make them pay, or like just go realistic. What realistic is this? And where then it goes back to that trust. What stories are you holding on to? This is all your stuff. This is Deborah talking to her. I can hear it. Okay, I'll just be quiet. I'll let Moira talk now. I can hear it, me going, this is all your stuff. I'm like, yeah, it is my stuff.
But you see, when I hear you talking about being realistic, I went, really? How come? I don't.
Okay, so my word about realistic is, the thing is, people go, I'm going to manifest getting $1 million check in the mail tomorrow. And you're like, okay, where's it coming from? I don't know. What's it for? I don't know. I'm just going to manifest that tomorrow. And I'm like, well, okay, I love that you're thinking like that, but is that realistic? Will you get $1 million check? Do people still send checks? Like, let's get really clear. Like, let's get specific and clear. Is that realistic? No, they don't. Do you send checks over? We've just stopped all ours in New Zealand and Australia. Do you still send checks?
I think it does occasionally, but yeah, very few and far between.
Yeah, so somebody just recently said that I'm going to get $1 million check in the mail, and I was like, but do they still do checks? Because I went, and that's realistic. Like that's what I'm talking realistic. Is it realistic? Not the other thing. Okay, I'll let you carry on, Moira.
So here's the thing about where I was coming from with that, because if I'm going to work on manifestation and I say, tomorrow I'm going to manifest $1 million check, I don't believe that the laws of attraction and manifestations work that way. So my next question is, okay, if that's what I'm going to work on manifesting, I can maybe write that down as a little intention, but then ask, what does that make me feel? So it's like, okay, so envisage or pretend or visualize that that's what I got. What does that feel like? Well, it would feel luxurious. It would feel secure. It would make me feel comfortable and solid and grounded and all the different pieces of why people want to have something physical. Because this is the thing, this is why I'm talking about releasing over control. The universe will just laugh at us if we feel like we have to get all of the different criteria labeled, because really, how come we can't just say, I want to feel happy? Right? In essence, that person that wants that check, they want to feel happy, right? So good.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Name it and then focus right here, right now on what does make you feel happy, what makes you feel connected to your heart, and focus on that. And then, because the universe is responding to your energy, and your energy is, I want to feel good, I want to feel in flow, I want to feel happy, I want to feel peaceful, I want to feel right. Does that make sense?
Yep, I'm literally thinking of what's going on in my world. Listen to Moira's tip, going, okay, I'm not clear and specific, and what does that make me feel? Yes, that's ticking in.
Like, so my suggestion here to the idea to release over control is, if you're really in your head saying, well, I need this and I need this kind of relationship and I need this kind of thing happening in my business and I need these kind of clients, and write it all down. Just write it all down. Do a brain dump, and then go and look at it and say, okay, let's just jump forward and say, I've got it all. How do I feel? And then focus on amplifying that feeling, because that is a superb way to release over control, because really you get to control how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
So that's the
find
tip. How does this make me feel about me?
You know, my number of 3, how I was going closer to a 0 is now just gone to 4, thinking I've got a lot of work to do.
Oopsie.
I'm like, oh, it's not a lot of work. It's beautiful work. It's beautiful. I guess that's the other thing, is don't fear the unknown. Don't, you know,
That's
like
a very powerful one. Don't fear the unknown.
Don't fear the unknown. And that goes back to the trust, because literally the more Moira was talking, then I'm like, I'm not a 3 anymore. I'm going down. I'm going down towards a 10. Oh. And then I went, actually, this is whatever will be, will be. It goes back to that trust. Don't fear that there's, whatever it is. Okay. That's my tip. Fear. I'll let Moira keep talking and see if she takes me back to the 0.
But it's you see, and I like how much you're underlining the trust part too, because our head, our thinking capacity sometimes has us believe otherwise. But the truth is, we live in a loving, abundant, prosperous universe. And the universe does have your back. And so that's that saying. I've said this before on previous episodes about that we make plans and God laughs.
I know, but he's laughing now.
Yeah, that's like over control is that we're making plans and we're thinking, oh my gosh, in order for this to happen, it has to look like this and it has to happen this way and it has to do this and I have to have this amount of money in my bank account and I have to have this and yeah, well, maybe you don't. Maybe the universe got something much grander outside of your own capacity of even conceiving of. And if you can allow yourself to trust and soften into the loving embrace of the universe, then it'll start to flow.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was thinking for the next tip. I was thinking of the next tip. And Moira and I, before we got on this call, I was talking about a particular problem I had. And Moira, don't put your stuff onto someone else to deal with, and don't take other people's stuff.
Yeah.
I was just trying to word it without wording it. Don't make others fight your fight. But also, you don't have to.
Well, you don't have to see it as a fight either.
Well, no, but they don't have you don't have to take on someone else's stuff. Focus in your own lane is what I was trying to say.
Stay in your lane.
And stop trying to collect others to be on board your story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where my head is, but my head is so full because I just think of a scenario. You know what I'm talking about, Moira. Can you just articulate that for me, please?
What you said about staying in your own lane is so important. It's like, and so here's the thing, is sometimes when we are getting into too much control or overcomplicating it, like you're saying, pulling other people into it, and oh, they're doing this or they're not doing this, or it's to just keep coming back to what is in here for me to take care of. Just that. And sometimes that may be nothing. And other times that may be delegate or tell somebody this is what I need you to do. That type of thing, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
It's really about actually, you know what it is? It's being accountable and responsible to your own self.
Okay, that's a tip on its own.
Yeah, it is. Because that then says, I don't have to be.
Yeah, you made the decision to get into that situation. It's up to you to get yourself out or sit there. Precisely.
And also, it doesn't mean, like, if you put yourself in a situation, you can trust that you may not have to deal with everything right now. You can say, oh, I'm just going to stay here for a bit because it's teaching me something. It's for my highest and best good. And I know that I can unpack it, put it down, change the story when I'm ready. But this is coming, that when you're talking like that, I would be putting my hands over my heart and just saying, I've got this. It's
My
all
next
good.
tip is hand on heart. My next tip is hand on heart. Literally, that was so exactly. Your hand on heart to me is the quickest, because I just did that before and I went, oh yeah, I'm going back to the zero now. Just
Yeah,
hand on
she's
heart.
coming back down that scale.
But I'm hearing all these tips, and then I was like, and then I'd literally put my hand on my heart, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, okay. And hand on heart, remind yourself you live there.
Yes.
But that
Yeah.
can be done in a public place when you feel your wheels are falling off and no one's listening to you and all the chaos is happening.
Yeah.
Hand on heart. It's just like, okay,
And
here
isn't
we
it
go.
beautiful? Because it's also it's a reminder. This is the seat of my soul, and this is the decision maker.
Yeah.
Because that over control is coming from your thinking space. Your heart would never direct you into over control.
Yeah.
Right? It's about really getting into the flow and the harmonious feel of your life.
I think it's important to find when you're getting into this place that you can see, is find the right people around you.
Yes,
Find
your
the right
tribe.
people. Yeah, your tribe. Find that community, that tribe, the people that feel right, and be okay with moving on from that tribe. I just want to say, they might have worked this time, but next time they might not work. So have that community and that tribe of people who can hold space and energy and talk it out and help you resolve or unpack this. Find the right people around you. And I'm going to say Moira and I,
Definitely.
because that's what we do every day, every day, every day.
Every day.
It is. But you can talk to your mum and your dad and your sister and your friend, but they have their own past stories. They have their agenda. I never liked him. I never liked your mum. Although they have their own agenda, we don't have an agenda. Our agenda is to just keep you loving life and fulfilled and
hold space for you.
Yeah,
Because that's the other part, and you're so right about finding the right people. I really encourage you to trust your intuition. Right? Because trusting your intuition allows you to realize, yes, I can have this, all out conversation over here, but then there's this other one that makes me feel a bit nervous when they start talking or, sharing, telling me what to do, basically, right?
Yeah.
Deb and myself, we hold space and we lovingly suggest things, but we don't tell you what to do, because that's actually going to lead into more over control, right?
Well, then you're going to become dependent on us and the rest of it. And we're both firm on finding the inspiration within you.
Definitely.
Allowing you to grow you in whatever tool we have, whatever we use, but it's about you doing that. And I'm conscious of the time, but I there's definitely one tip I want to share anymore. Is any you would like to share?
I'm sure they'll come up when we start doing our recap.
My last tip I want to share is, I got emotional here. Live a meaningful life. Go and do what you want to do. And go live a meaningful life, because when you're sitting in that over control, it's not a meaningful life. It's a controlled environment that you're trying to do. So go out and do something magnificent, inspiring, that feels right for you, and go have some meaning and purpose out there, whatever that meaning and purpose is.
I love it. Trust your heart. Trust your heart.
That one got me. Okay.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. Okay, are we recapping?
We're recapping. Yes. Shall I kick us off?
Yeah, I think that'd be lovely. Yeah.
Okay. The first tip that I talked about here was the signs, the symptoms that we have in our body. This is when Deb went into the talking about the pink flags and red flags. I thought that was pretty cool. But prior to that, I was saying about when when our hypervigilant, the like, oh my God, I have to take all care of all these things, and your posture's tense, and you're shallow breathing, and that's definitely a time to say, okay, I'm putting down everything that I can't control right now.
Yeah.
Right. It's
And
not for me to do.
that's a level of delegating to trust that the universe.
Yep. And those around you even. Right.
Totally.
Mhm.
And I mentioned the helicopter parent.
That's right.
And that's an awareness of what over control looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to rob people of their accountability. Like, you don't want to rob people and keep them juvenile. The more you overprotect people, the more that you do so much for them, you're robbing them of their world. You're telling them what to do. You're eat this, do this time. Like, you're robbing them of their own life fulfillment of accountability.
But they're never going to find their best way unless they go through the lesson. Like the you were saying about the helicopter parent. If the helicopter parent is like following the kid because like, oh my God, it's going to fall. Well, kids have to fall. And then they get back up again.
Just because you've had a unbalanced perception or a icky situation, you don't have to put that onto your children.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't want you to play softball because you're going to get hit with the ball. Well, most people do get hit with the ball anyway, and it could be small or big, but it is that past stories. The tip I had was about the PEMS. The PEMS is a fabulous check-in to go, how am I feeling emotionally, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually? Oh, no wonder I'm cranky. I've had 2 hours sleep. No wonder this is challenging me because I haven't eaten today. No wonder this is challenging me because I just read a book that I'm trying to learn something. Like, no wonder. And the moment you look at that, I'm going to say it's not an excuse, but it's just like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's it. So Moira said, know thyself. And I love that. Know thyself. Okay. And once you see that, we've got to acknowledge somewhere down there. There's got to be an acknowledge. I don't think we've got an. Oh, we have?
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. But once you see that, you're like, okay, now I can deal with it. But sometimes you can't see.
And from that point, when we were talking about it, that's when I was suggesting to our listeners to use systems. There's a plethora of systems out there. Like I said, I use tarot, numerology, human design, and gene keys to really help people get a really deep felt sense of who are you. It's one of the best ways. It's really helped me in my life, in my profession and personal life, to understand this is how I'm wired. This is how I roll, kind of thing, and be good with it. Not think, oh gosh, everybody else is doing it this way, and so therefore I need to. Doesn't work for me. So that's a really, really important piece to letting go of over control. But the next one I had was to see and acknowledge what's going on, right? That what comes in here is the how do I feel about myself here? And just acknowledge it. Maybe I need to acknowledge I feel a bit nervous here. And so therefore I need to take that apart. Okay, so what are the things I can do something about, and what are the things that I have no control over? And because that's such an important part too, is that the propensity for over control is trying to control all the things that you can't control, right? It's such a waste of energy.
I know, and when you're trying to control something, the universe is saying no. It's like everything goes out, it like filters into other areas, and you're like, oh, nothing's working. It's like, okay, let's just slow down here. Let's just take a moment. There's chaos, too much chaos everywhere.
Yep.
The tip I had was honor others for them. Honor others, and it is that, the helicopter parent, it is trusting that, honor them for them.
Yeah.
Don't just that. Well, that's pretty much it. Honor others for them.
Yeah, the way they are. That we are all wired. We're all different flavors. We're all different flavors. We're set up differently, and so it's to honor that, honor the differences, celebrate it. The next one I had here was trust, and that's when I told you that I heard my dad's voice saying, "If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself." Trust other people to do things. It isn't that you have to do everything if you want to have them done right. It's right.
Well, yes, and I giggle because I giggle because it was trust in a loving, abundant. We have a loving, abundant universe.
Yeah.
Said earlier, just when I go to trust, and I now have a loving, abundant universe. It's actually reframing things. Like, what does trust mean? Just know that there's trust. Like, don't go, what does it mean? Why? Trust. Trust is a mic drop.
Yep.
Trust.
Trust is like, it's all good.
Done.
All is well in my world.
And it is reminding yourself that there is a loving, abundant universe out there. The next one, who's?
It's yours.
Oh, it's okay. Who? Is the 4 agreements. And Moira said assumptions. Now, all 4 agreements, surprise, they come in as it is. But it's assumptions. Be aware of your assumptions.
Yeah.
And they just come back to your past stories. They're going to do this all the time. Just be aware. And the moment you open your eyes, you can see that you're like, oh, okay, I can see where this is coming from. But the 4 agreements are a vital one for
absolutely for
life.
For life, but they are so important for releasing over control. That's be impeccable with your word.
Yeah.
And don't make assumptions, don't take things personally, and always do your best. And so always do your best is such a powerful one there too for over control. Because, oh gosh, it has to be just so in order for me to do this. It's like, no, well, if I'm doing my best, then that's it. Let it go.
That's it. End of.
Yeah. Done deal. The next one I have here was when we were, and I did talk about that we are in a loving universe, and that loving universe is actually flowing right through you. But this is when I was talking about manifestation, and we were talking about being really like, oh, it's got to look like this and feel like this, and it's got to be this, and it has to be this type of person, he has to look like this, and that's all fine. But just to understand that you're playing and that you want to keep coming down into how does that make you feel? And then, so if your overarching intention is to feel happy, to feel peaceful, to feel filled with joy, then focus on those, because right here, right now, you have the capacity to feel those. And so this over control thing can get in the way of you actually being that powerful manifester that you actually are. But I just see sometimes people get too caught up in the details, get lost in the weeds with I have to do this, I have to do that. That's over control.
Yeah, that's an endless cycle, isn't it?
It is.
Crazy
Hamster wheel.
Yeah, totally. I've got don't fear the unknown.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And because it's going to come up, so I can say don't fear it, and it possibly will come up, and that's okay. So when it comes up, it goes back to that trust, hand on heart. So so don't just don't fear the unknown. But I do. Okay, that's okay. Hand on heart, trust, and that's that whole scenario of releasing the over control.
Yep.
Is watch the unknown fear that comes up.
Definitely. The next one I have here is it's where you were saying don't make others fight your fight and stay in your lane. But it's also, I was just realizing that the 4 agreements apply to that. This is being impeccable with your word. Is that you stand by your word. And because when we are not being impeccable with our word, we might be gossiping and pulling other people into our story of control or lack of control, right? And so it's like, no, that it's about really coming back to what's the truth, what's my truth, what is it for me to do, and what do I need to let go and surrender, let the universe deal with. Right.
Be accountable to your decisions and actions,
and responsible and accountable.
Responsible and accountable, totally. That mic drop, end of. That's
done deal. Don't need to talk about it no more. And then the next one we had here was hand on your heart. Hand on heart will always calm you down no matter what's going on around you, whether it's, something you're witnessing or something you're trying to get done or accomplished, hand on your heart. I do it regularly throughout my day. It's if you ever have a decision to make, I really encourage you to just pause for a few rounds of breath, your hand on your heart, and then you know that you're making a decision from your heart.
Yeah.
That's just most part. See, there's another mic drop moment.
Yeah, that's literally it. So when do you release over control? Hand on heart, trust. There you go. Done.
Done.
Podcast done. I wrote down a tribe.
Yeah.
Find the right tribe. Find the right tribe that challenges you enough to not burn out, but supports you enough. Find the right people who hold space and energy for you. Be aware of their intentions, because they've got their past stories as well. Moira and I hold energy, hold space, and for ourselves, but also for each other, but also for people who come into our world. And so find the right people. We don't have an intention to go, we're going to fix you. We're going to guide you to see what's going on and pull those answers within you. So find the right people around that can hold that
Hold
energy,
the space, the energy, the space.
bubble,
Yeah.
the divineness around you, because you are a divine being. Hold
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. And that's the one that I added, that I really encourage you to trust your intuition, because intuitively you know who the right people are. And you also realize that not the same tribe is the right tribe for you all the way through, right? Because as we shift and change, what we need from others shifts and changes.
And also, it's okay to move on from your tribe. I think that's, I can't cut my people off. You're not cutting them off. You're moving on. You're moving on, and they're still there in your heart.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's all the tips I had. Did you have any more?
Yeah, just the one that made me cry.
That's right. Live a meaningful life. Connect to your purpose.
Just that one.
Just that one. That's right. I didn't write that one down because that was such a big one.
That one got me good. That got me good.
Yes, it
did. Go and live a meaningful life.
But that's actually tapping into being your authentic self, knowing yourself, trusting that which you do, that you feel called to do. That's the most important thing. Yeah. I like that.
Whew. Well, we got through that one, people.
We did.
When do you release over control? Right here, right now. The buck stops here, peeps. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us and allowing us to share what's in our heart and our head to our listeners today. I appreciate the internet and Moira coming on, and I appreciate being able to unpack this in a constructive way.
Yeah.
With bullets. Yeah. And we had our PEMS at the start, where we tapped into our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. We had a number, we checked in halfway, and now we're going to check in where we are at the very end. And our intention was to bring you closer to the 0.
Yeah.
Moira was a 2, I was a 3. Moira even threw me to a 4. I'm going to say Moira. Moira threw me to a 4.
I did it. It's all my fault.
I'm not taking accountability of that. Yeah, it's totally her. It's all her. And I went to a 4. So where are you feeling now, Moira?
I'm a 0. From a 2, I'm not a 0. How about you?
Yeah, a 0.
Yeah, I kind of thought that happened. I love it.
That got me. That got me. And even just beautiful that, like when Moira was when we were talking these tips, I did go beyond the 3. I went closer to the, I was like, I could feel it. I could feel it, and my mind was processing. But it was one of my favorite tips was just hand on heart.
Yeah.
Hand on heart.
My favorite.
Yeah, and that just bumped me straight from a 4 or 4 or 5 up to a 1. I was like, oh, of course. But of course.
But of course.
So let us know, listeners, how you got on with these numbers. But also, that's a quick one. Just go, okay, then I understand my PEMS. I understand it. Okay, right. Well, that makes sense. Then you can carry on. These are part of this over control, instead of unpacking the crazy story that you're possibly not going to get an answer to. And the tips are showing you the answers there within, right from the start.
Yep.
So so please, listeners, if you liked this, if you love this, if you had a smile or a giggle or a wow or an insight, the next step is to share it. Share in our groups, share in the comment section. Let us know where you were in a number and what was your favorite tip? What one really got you?
Yeah.
Because for me, the one that really got me, well, actually there was two, was the hand on heart, and then the reminder to live a meaningful life. They were my two. Go out and do something extraordinary that relates to you. What was your favorite tip? Moira's going to say all of them. Yeah.
Well, I would say all of them. I think that the reminder that we kind of got into about manifesting and the loving universe flowing through, but also about responsibility and accountability. That one,
Yeah.
I really like those types of vibes. It's kind of how I
Perfect.
roll. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So if you like that, share. Let us know your thoughts. We would love to know that. And thank you for listening and being with us till the very, very end. Thank you, Moira. Thank you, Internet, as I'm in Sydney. Thank you, Internet.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Internet.
That worked. That worked.
It did.
Now go out there and live a meaningful life, people.
Yes, there's your homework.
Go out there and do that. Thank you. And you'll hear us on the next podcast.
Yes, you will.
Thank you.
Thanks
for
Debz.
listening.
Thanks,
Thank you.
listeners. Bye.
Bye.